I have a tiny confession. I've been hiding a spiral from you guys. Let me explain. I have multiple spirals running at any given time. I have a spiral about Cardi B's new album. I have a spiral about Kate Middleton, the Princess of Wales. I just spiral about pretty much anything, okay? And if I shared every spiral I had on here, y'all would think I'm crazy. Y'all would think I've lost it, okay? So I have to really ration out the spirals I get. But after receiving this comment, and after watching Little Debbie's newest video theorizing that Beyonce is counting down somehow to April 8th, which happens to be the day of a full solar eclipse, I think I'm ready to share this spiral. Since 2021, and maybe even a little earlier, Beyonce has been alluding to eclipses pretty much everywhere, okay? Her perfume bottle, that's suspicious, okay? All of her tour sets and stuff since 2021, that's suspicious, okay? So there's definitely something there. And I'm not even playing, it's everywhere. Once you realize what you're looking for, everything has to do with the sun and the eclipse. But what really kicked my eclipse spiral into high gear was actually this picture. I put together a video thinking that this had to do with Lady Gaga and, like, you know, Cabin in the Snow. It was a whole thing. That was an unhinged video for sure. But during that spiral, I had a side spiral about the eclipse, because if you look at her jean jacket on the chest area, I don't know about y'all, but that looks like the outline of an eclipse. Does it not? Like that you know what I'm saying? Like, that looks like the moon covering up the sun. That can't be a coincidence. And then I found this image and I was like, oh, okay. Beyonce's really playing in our face. She's been playing in our face, actually. This is an aerial view, like a bird's eye view of the Renaissance stage setup. And if you don't know anything about astronomy, like I didn't know until about 3 weeks ago when I started the spiral, this would be like, you'd be like, okay, I mean, like, it's a little walk past the stage, whatever. Remember this. Line, circle, remember this? Okay. This is a very crude diagram of what a solar eclipse is gonna look like. You see the path of the moon, where the Earth is located, versus the sun. It looks a little familiar, does it not? Hold on. And if you look up images like this, where astronomers of back in the day put together about how eclipses work, you see the same basic layout as this woman's Renaissance stage. She's playing in our face. But the real kicker is, when I was researching how clips from the lyric videos might be clips we see in this docu-series or movie or whatever she's coming out with, one of the images is this. It flashes at the beginning of every single lyric video, okay? That's just another eclipse image. This is a stretch. I told you there'd be a lot of stretches in this. Technically this banjo shape, technically the same type of shape. We have the circular motion of where the moon's gonna run. We have the two ends where the sun and the earth are. A banjo is pretty much an instrumental representation of a solar eclipse diagram, which is insane. I know, I hear it, it's crazy. So if we revisit this image, what are we seeing here? The sun, right? Because that's where the light's coming from. Earth in the center, because we receive the light from the sun here on Earth. And the circle around Earth, the moon rotating around Earth. And when that moon gets to that point right there, it blocks the sun and creates what we like to call an eclipse. I feel so good being able to finally share this, because this has been driving me nuts. Okay, so back in like 380 BC, some astronomer named Exodus was like, y'all, I think the universe rotates around the Earth. And a lot of like prominent figures around that time, including people like Aristotle and Ptolemy, believed that he was correct. Like, yes, the Earth is the center of the universe. Until a guy came through and was like, I think y'all are wrong. Old boy Copernicus, who was a Polish astronomer, was like, no, I'm pretty sure the sun stays in one place and the planets rotates around them. And he was the one who came up with a year being the time the Earth travels around the sun, and he incorporated the moon. He basically set us up to our current understanding of how the universe works. So imagine the first humans to ever see an eclipse. If that was me, I would think, that's it, wrap it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd be like, oh, the world's ending. The sun got taken out of the sky. This is scary now. So there's been a lot of like explanations culturally about what an eclipse means, but generally eclipses have been seen as a disruption of the natural order. And what's Beyonce been doing? with Cowboy Carter. In fact, what has Beyonce been doing with all of the music in the act so far? Disruption. It's her main mode right now. And there are so many parallels between Christian iconography and the eclipse. You see it everywhere. For example, Mary, the mother of Jesus, most of the images you see of her, huge halo behind her head, right? It's everywhere. But something that's very interesting to note is that there was an understanding of solar eclipses, but it was around the Renaissance that these depiction of the eclipses were refined and the knowledge became full and they fully understood what the eclipse was during the Renaissance. The Renaissance. And one of the places where the eclipse will be the best seen when it happens on the 8th is Texas. It is going to be so clear and so well perceived there that between 270,000 to 1,000,000 visitors are expected to travel to Texas to witness the eclipse. So much so that it's putting Texas in a state of emergency that day. Her mind. And if you look at the lyrics during the bridge of Yaya, where she lists out a couple of locations, Texas, Gary, New York, and you plot those locations on a map of the eclipse's path, they're all directly in the path of the eclipse. They're all directly in the path of the eclipse. Texas, Indiana's up at the top there around Missouri and like Gary, Indiana. New York's getting a perfect view. This woman's mind is terrifying. So whatever she's alluding to, whatever she's counting down on bincountry.com is most likely going to be announced or revealed on Monday, April 8th to coincide with the solar eclipse. What do you guys think? Of all my theories, this one might be the most flushed out and have the most evidence supporting it because it's just from 2021. She's been teasing this from time, okay? Another really random fact that may not have anything to do with this is a year from the release date of Cowboy Carter, March 29th in 2025, there's an eclipse happening on that date too. We always do have one or two eclipses here and there throughout the year, this one being special on the 8th because it's a full eclipse, but still, the dates matching up, it's just, do you know what I mean? So I'm gonna head out and start spiraling over the new images that she's just dropped and I will share what I find, but I did notice an accordion. That's the second instrument that's been on these countdown image days, which is interesting. Both of them are related to enslaved peoples and how they made music. But remember this accordion? If you were around during my earlier spirals, Zydeco music, right? What is she going to do? What is she releasing? I'm so intrigued.